We hear a lot about quantitative easing in the press. But just what is quantitative easing and how does it work? Well, usually central banks try to raise the amount of lending and activity in the economy by cutting interest rates. Lower interest rates encourage people to spend, not save. But when interest rates can go no lower, a central bank's only option is to pump money into the economy directly. This is called quantitative easing. The way the central bank does this is by buying assets, usually financial assets such as government and corporate bonds, using money it has simply created out of thin air. The institutions selling those assets, either commercial banks or other financial businesses such as insurance companies, will then have new money in their accounts, which then boost the money supply. The Bank of England injected about 75 billion into the economy in March 2009 through a process called quantitative easing, and expanded the programme to 200 billion later that year. In October 2011, the bank announced a further 75 billion of quantitative easing, and it extended the programme in February 2012 by another 50 billion, taking the total size to 325 billion. So, for the layman, the Bank of England has created £325 billion out of thin air. They make it up, it's figures on a screen. The 325 billion is then handed to banks via purchase of its products. The banks then pay themselves and their staff massive bonuses. What does the bank do with this money? Well, they may or they may not lend it. Most just hold it to shore up their assets and make their balance sheets look better, thus making no difference to the economy. Oh, and we have to eventually repay this 325 billion that the bank made up out of nothing in taxes. And after all that, it might not even work. Quantitative easing is a massive transfer of wealth from average Joe to the banks. Did you hear that? Quantitative easing is a massive transfer of wealth from you and I to the banks. Does this make you mad? Does this make you want to stomp on a banker and ask for your money back? Having taken us for over 75 billion in 2008, the banks continue to rape you and I via the Bank of England and quantitative easing, making the rich even richer and the poor having to foot the bill. We've now reached 325 billion in quantitative easing. Where's this going to stop? At what level? 500 billion? £1 trillion? Just how much money are we going to plough into the banks before we realise we'd be better off without them? Because remember, it's you and I that have to pay for all of this.